Hey, this is Matt Miller, who you may know as Tenchi. Welcome to Tenchicast.
That was awesome.
How was that? All right.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll take me a minute to come back from that. Thank you for doing thank you for doing that. That was fantastic.
No problem.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next exciting episode of the Interview Adventures, presented by Tenchiforum.com. When one thinks of Tenchi Muyo, they generally think of the hijinks of a multitude of crazy space women. But where would those women be without the male character leading it all, and the voice actor who helped bring that shy Japanese boy to savior of the universe for us fans in the West? Thank you, Mr. Miller, for sitting down with us today.
No problem. Glad to be here.
First and foremost, what does Matthew K. Miller do today?
Matt K. Miller is an actor. I work primarily in theater, live theater, mostly classical theater, but I do it all. I also still do voiceover jobs occasionally, some commercial, a little bit of TV, tiny bit of film, and I'm also teaching acting and theater, the college level and privately, and I direct as well. I direct theater, and what else? And I'm a playwright also, but primarily a theater actor.
Cool. And you travel around with your theater group?
I don't have one theater group I work with. I'm a freelance, so I go wherever the work takes me. I've been lucky that I'm based in Sacramento, California, and fortunately there's enough live theater in the vicinity and in the Bay Area to keep me busy. But I do travel for theater and acting jobs as well. Last year I actually toured a show. We started in Canada and toured it to Greece. So sometimes I go quite far afield with the acting, so it's quite fun.
When we spoke with Patria, she told us that you were kind of the person who brought her into the world of anime dubbing. How did you get into anime voice acting?
Well, we had moved to LA, my first wife and I, to pursue my acting career. And you pursue any angle you can out there. Obviously, you want to make a living. So all aspects of acting, theater acting and film acting and TV acting and voiceover was something I hadn't really done much of. I'd done a tiny bit of it, commercial. But other than that, I hadn't done a lot. I hadn't done any character voice acting, only just like commercial spokesperson stuff. My first wife had worked with a woman who had this project. She was producing this, at the time, certainly to me, unknown project, Tenchi Muyo. And so they were collecting audition tapes. It's one of those cases of being in the right place at the right time or knowing the right people and all that, as is so often the case. My wife said, why don't you make an audition for this? So I did. I put an audition on tape along with everybody else, and they all got sent to the producer, and I got cast from my audition tape. And that's how so Tenchi Muyo was my first anime job, and it was my first dubbing job, and I think might have been my first character voiceover job, I think James Bond Jr. and all that, I think that came afterwards. Gosh, I have to remember. It's so long ago now.
As I say, it's been about, it was 20 years last year that
20 years ago, that's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to wrap your head around. I was wondering if you had any projects or anything you're working on nowadays or in the future that you're excited about and could tell us about or would be interested in sharing.
Sure. Like I said, primarily theater. Right now I'm in rehearsal. I'm about to open a stage production, an adaptation of the novel Pride and Prejudice here in Sacramento at the Sacramento Theater Company. I'm playing Mr. Bennett, Miss Elizabeth Bennett's father. And, having really a lot of fun with it. It's just a wonderful story. It's so well known by so many people, the novel, and these particular writers did a great job of adapting the novel to the stage. It's quite fun. I also have a play that's won an award, and I'm trying to get it produced. It's a play entitled "Beat Aside Apollo's Arrow," and I'm directing a show at the community college here, a little children's theater production of Rumpelstiltskin. So we got a lot of things going on, and but the most exciting probably is my 5-year-old son just started kindergarten a couple of weeks ago. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah.
Well, yeah, there you have it. Any Tenchi fans listening to this in the Sacramento area, now you know where to go.
There you go. Yeah, come
They
on
sound
down.
like they sound like awesome experiences.
Thank you.
My next question is some of the series of Tenchi you worked on. You used a pseudonym, Kermit Miller. Is there a story behind that?
That was because we were trying to. We wanted the whole project to be union, so we were in the process of doing that, and it wasn't union. The first couple or so weren't union yet, so we used pseudonyms, quite frankly, until it went union, and then we could use our union names. So that's what that was about. It wasn't anything too cheeky. It was just we were just trying to abide by the rules.
That's cool. That's interesting. That's something a lot of people were curious about for a long time. That's cool. That makes a lot of sense, though. When you were getting in character for Tenchi, how did you really come up with his particular voice? It's very distinctive, and a lot of his mannerisms are quite unique. Did you is there a lot of you in Tenchi, or was a lot of it directed from a director?
Well, the basic voice was pretty instinctual and intuitive on my part. It was just I went from a description of he's an adolescent boy, and I can't remember the specific wording of his description, but that was basically it. He was adolescent, so he had to be younger than I was. So I just sort of came up with his voice, and that's what I submitted on the audition tape, and apparently they liked it. I can't really give you a lot of analysis of it. It was pretty much, like I say, an instinctual choice on my part of where I wanted to pitch the voice, where I thought it would sound age appropriate for him. If I recall, there's something about him being very energetic or something along those lines. So I wanted him to be have a lot of energy in the voice as well. And I think those are the two basic things that I was going for, was the age and the energy, which they apparently liked. And then any refinement on that was done in the recording booth between the director and myself. And that's pretty much where it went.
Wow. Well, that's pretty awesome. No matter how it came about, it seems like you had a pretty good idea, and the intuition paid off. It's certainly one of the most distinctive and memorable of any performances I've seen.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question, Chuck, because I know that, regardless of whom we're doing it first, when I myself and any other Tenchi fan, and really other anime fans that I know, whenever they hear or they exasperate themselves, we think Tenchi right off the bat. So that was so memorable, really was. And,
it was a lot of fun.
Well, we've been talking about the how you got the role, Matt, and some of the things you did to really bring that character that we all associate with Tenchi to this day. So, and I most of us, even though we're not very familiar with voiceover industry and the recording process, we understand that you that even though you're in a cast with a bunch of other actors, that you're probably doing your lines kind of individually, with like a director. When you did have interactions with other crew members or cast members, like maybe your directors, or if you did have some interactions with some of the other cast members, what was that like working with them?
I think Patria might have mentioned this in her interview, that when we first started, we tried to be in the booth together so we could play off of each other, but it soon became apparent just logistically it was impossible because of the way dubbing works and the way dubbing is recorded. There's too much precision involved with matching the lip flaps and all that sort of falderall that it became apparent that we'd have to record individually. But when we started, Patrio and I were in the booth together because that first episode, obviously, if you remember, was just basically Tenchi releasing Ryoko, and then all hell breaks loose. And it was the two of them, and it was fun, but it was just became apparent it was not feasible. So that was unfortunate. We didn't get to play together, but we were friends already. I think Patria mentioned also that we'd known each other for many years, previously in Chicago, and then when we were both out in LA at the same time. And I thought of her for the role of Ryoko, and she made an audition tape on cassette, if that's telling you anything about how long ago this was. So we had known each other anyway, so we had a great rapport and a great relationship for a long time already. The others I didn't know, but we all got along like a house of fire. It was just a really great group, one of those rare things. It happens in theater, happens in voiceover, happens occasionally in film too, where you just get the right synergy with a group of people, just the right energy and right vibe, I guess. It was just a blast to be around all those people.
And so that had to really be fun then, already being acquainted with Patria and then getting getting a role for her and then getting to work with her again. I'd imagine that was fun.
Yeah.
and on behalf of all of us, Tenchi fans, thank you for suggesting her for the role, because I think we unanimously agree. We think she did a good job with it.
Yeah. I like to take credit because she was so terrific. She's got this great voice, as you know, and a good actor on top of it. So it was just it was a delight.
Well, I guess on that note, then, not to be redundant, but and I realize this really is stretching quite a ways back here. But is there a kind of a standout or a favorite memory or moment you have when you were recording, or when you were working with the Tenchi crew?
It really has to be that first episode, because it was a new experience. It was exciting and crazy, because if you recall that first episode, so much of it was just Tenchi exclaiming and this non-verbal noises he had to make while he was being chased by Ryoko, who's blowing things up around him. So, it was just a lot of falling down stuff and being, evading explosions. And it was like I was in that booth 8 hours that first day. And wow. I remember, it was 1993. I was also opening a show. If I recall, I was opening a play, Sheer Madness, in Santa Monica, just like half a mile from where we were recording. So it was a heady time, because I was the star of this anime show, and I was opening a play at the same time, and I was working and running around and recording and acting and doing this wild character voice during the day. So it was that first episode was pretty memorable.
That I can't tell you how fantastic that is, because we've had similar discussions on obviously not getting to be on that side of the fence, but being as viewers, and we've kind of over the years have said, well, what's one of our favorite moments, and a lot of us have said, well, just the way Tenchi Muyo starts off with a bang. It's just like you said, it's just fun. It's just fun, and I'm glad it was fun on the other side, bringing that into being, because it was phenomenal from those of us on the other side of the fence here. So I guess on just to follow that up here, and you said you were doing other work at the time, and now obviously as you've been kind enough to share with us, you've done a lot since then, and you have a lot of other roles and a lot of other prospects in all various fields of acting. So whether Tenchi specifically, or voiceover in general, how would you say that's, if at all, if that's affected your performances or your work in other areas you've done since Tenchi?
Hard to say. I know I got more dubbing work subsequent to Tenchi because of Tenchi, and because of that job, more opportunities came along. So that certainly had an effect. As we say in this business, work breeds work. So you get to know more people, you work on more projects, and you get to know more people on those projects, and it sort of has an exponential effect sometimes if you're good. The other thing that was really fortunate for me was that it turned out I just happened to have, for whatever reason, a knack for dubbing, or ADR as they call it in the industry. Because you're in this booth, and I don't know if you guys know how it works, but you're in this booth and you're looking at a monitor of the Tenchi episode playing back with a time code, and you're given a script with just your lines and a time code next to each line. So the trick is not only to do a voice and act, but then you have to match the lip flaps exactly with the words on the script. So you're looking down, you're looking up, you're looking down, you're looking up. And if you can do that well and do it quickly, they really love you because it saves them money, because those recording studios are very expensive to rent. So if you can work fast and be good, you're golden, because you're saving them money and you're doing a good job. Like I said, I don't know why, but I happen to have a knack for it. So that word got around that I was fast and could do it quickly and well. So that helped also with getting more subsequent work after Tenchi. Otherwise, it hasn't really affected any other aspect of acting too much that I could really speak to. I did incorporate a little bit of Tenchi when I did a one-man show a couple of years ago. I put in some Tenchi stories in my one-man show.
So obviously, having worked on Tenchi from the beginning until, right up to this day, what would you say, if you could, your favorite series was to work on?
The first one, the original one, where I really got to feel out the character and explore different aspects of what he was going through, and obviously not create the character because it had already been created, but to find my own way in it and develop my own skill set in doing that stuff. It was a learning experience as much as a working experience, at least in the first part of it. After so many years of, I think we did, good Lord, I think we last recorded in '99 or something like that, or I think I even actually, I was already in Sacramento the last time I recorded something, so that was probably, 2002, 2003 maybe, can't remember, when they did another OVA or something. I could walk into the booth and the voice was just there without even thinking about it. But in those early days, it was a development process. So I guess the first series is the most memorable to me.
You mentioned that third OVA. Was it the time span in between the third movie that you did and that particular series? There were quite a few years in between.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find it hard to get back into the groove, or like you said, did it just snap?
It just snapped back in after doing it for so long. Like when I did the intro line for you guys, it's just there, and I still get people who are fans, and anime fans are everywhere, and I'll meet them and do a little Tenchi maybe on the spot for them, and there's no problem just having it come back. There's something I would like to mention, especially for the fans. This whole thing about quality. I would like it known that it really boils down to that old adage of you get what you pay for. If there is any disparity, if there is any disappointment at all in the later series or in fact of any anime series, anything you're watching, it really matters if you pay for a good director or pay for great actors. If you're willing to pay what a great actor is worth, or paying what a great director is worth, they make a difference. Pay what a great script adapter is worth. Then you get a good product. If any of the fans are disappointed in any anime, don't necessarily say, "Oh, that was just that show isn't that good," or that those actors aren't doing a good job. You really have to look at who's producing, and I'm not trying to denigrate anybody or any show or anybody's work at all. But I do find sometimes that things things that I've worked on are trying to be done on the cheap. It shows. So, I'm not singling anybody out or any show out, but I have seen that happen in the industry. So I would just like that known. If you want a good product, you need to pay for it.
As long as Tenchi continues to stay popular the way it does into the future, if given the chance, would Matt K. Miller continue to voice Tenchi?
Oh, sure. That's a character that's always going to be close to my heart because of what it meant, how significant it was in my career in voiceover, and how much it still reverberates with fans. I still go to cons. I went to Pittsburgh a year or two ago. So when I'm available, if you're listening out there, you con directors, invite me. If I'm available, I'll come because I love talking to fans. And that's what makes it so popular is the fans. They're the ones watching it and loving it. So I'm appreciative for them. So anytime.
Some people tend to be busy, or some people tend to, have busy schedules and whatnot. But that's good to hear that you're still a part of the con scene if people will have you.
Absolutely.
Considering that you are the voice behind the madness, so to speak, which girl would you, Matt Miller, choose for Tenchi?
The question I always get. And I used to be very diplomatic and say, well, they're both beautiful and they're both wonderful and all of that. But Patria is such a good friend of mine, and Ryoko's so... especially those early days we were recording together. I don't mind saying anymore. I'd go with Ryoko. I like Ryoko. Nothing against Jennifer Darling.
To say that, I think that's an answer that a lot of people have been kind of holding back for. Like, yes, he said it.
I was gonna say, yeah, you've made a lot of people happy today, sir.
You did.
Is there anything that you'd like to say to your fans out there that you may not have said before?
Thank you so much for making Tenchi so popular and so huge. Let's keep it alive. Let's keep it going. Heck, let's make some more. Why not? Keep coming to the cons. Ask your cons if you'd like to see me. I'd love to come. Tell your cons, invite me. If I'm available, like I say, if my schedules works, I'll be there. I love to see the fans. I love to mix with the fans and do panels and all that stuff. And I love to travel and meet new people all the time. So thank you to the fans. Thank you for watching Tenchi. Let's keep it going.
Well, guys, anything else that you might want to ask the one and only Matt K. Miller?
Well, time allowing here, I might have just a couple quick ones here,
Sure.
Unless anyone wanted to go before me. But I guess since I went ahead here, I guess I was just gonna ask because you did such a good job with this that I'm alluding to here that I didn't know for the longest time, even though I watched Tenchi, ever since saw it on TV in 2000. But if I recall correctly, in one of the iterations, you played a villain character named Hotsuma. Is that ringing a bell?
You could very well be right.
Well, he wasn't as memorable as Tenchi. I mean, that's arguable. So I guess either to that experience, or if you have any other experiences, I was just gonna just going to see, because in Tenchi you play our protagonist, you're our underdog that we root for. But I was going to ask how it was, and how it's a little different, or similar, or what have you, playing an antagonist instead of the good guy.
Bad guys are fun. Bad guys. Tenchi's a blast. The bad guys can be really fun too, because you get to be naughty and bad, do all those things you think about but would never ever do. So bad guys are fun for a different reason, because you get to do all those horrible things that you're thinking to people. I don't recall that character specifically, and that's interesting you bring that up, because we did do, all of us did multiple voices at times. If Tenchi had a low line load in a particular episode and they needed an extra peripheral character or something done, the union contract, they can get 3 voices out of you per job without paying you more. Not to get into pay stuff too much, but so they would say, hey, there's a guard in this other scene, he only has a few lines, Matt, would you take that one? And that would happen on occasion, and that was fun, because doing Tenchi's great, but it was fun to stretch yourself and do other voices too, and try to mask it as well as you can, so nobody, unless they're reading the credits carefully, wouldn't know that it was also you doing the guard over here, or doing the bad guy in this other episode, because the plots did get rather intricate after a while. Wasn't I at one point playing myself and my Tenchi's opposite or something? The fans probably know better than I do. I know. I just remember there were times where I was doing bad guys and good guys and different voices, and that's fun, because then you get to stretch. It's like, oh, I get to make up another voice. I got to come up with one, and so that's always fun to use your muscles.
Well, I got to say, from my end, like I said, it's only, 10 years later. I watched the whole thing on television, but it's only way later that I'm going back into it and kind of trying to research it and looking up, and I'll see a role and such as yourself, and I'll go, no way, that was Matt, get out. I had no idea.
Yeah, that's fun. I like doing that in my theater jobs as well. I like to sort of really immerse in the character so people don't really know it's me right off. That's fun.
I did think of something.
Oh, good. There's Lauren.
I see. Yeah. Are you surprised at all that Tenchi has maintained his popularity over the years?
I used to be surprised. I'm not as surprised anymore, just because I've heard from so many fans, and like you guys are saying that it captured there was something enigmatic about it, and maybe it's ineffable what that thing is. Maybe it was just that synergy I was talking about that came through on the voice acting. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but I think it's that probably a combination of things, combination of the story, and what a wonderful story it is, what great, vivid characters those original artists and writers came up with, and on top of that, the wonderful time we had recording the English versions. So maybe it's just an aggregate effect of all of that.
I just had a real quick one. I'm curious. Do you ever, how often, if ever, do you have any contact with your former castmates from the show?
I really only communicate on any regular basis with Patria. We're friends on Facebook, and I see what's going on with her on that, and we shoot each other messages once in a while. She's really the only one. I'll occasionally hear about what's going on with this other guy. Oh, you know what? I take that back. Katie Vogt, who's now working up at Oregon Shakespeare Festival in Ashland. She's a regular company member up there. She's been up there for a few years now. I see her when I go up to see shows at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, and she's great. She's also an old friend. She's terrific. So if any theater fans go up to Oregon Shakes, you can see Washu on stage. So Katie and Patria are really the only ones I've been in any kind of regular touch with.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, and you heard it straight from Matt. I think we do actually have a couple Oregon Tenchi fans that we know of, so we'll send them her way.
Good, good.
It's just great to hear like her, and we've heard from Patria and yourself, Matt, and just however much we were able to hear about you guys going on to do other things and doing well, and your careers are still going on, and we love hearing that. We really do.
Oh, good, good. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's about it for me. Other than to once again say thank you so much for jumping in here, Matt.
You
Yeah,
bet.
thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome. And if fans want more contact, I've got a Twitter account. Just look for Matt K. Miller. And I've got a YouTube channel, and I know fans have found me there and messaged me through the YouTube channel, Matt K. Miller. So if they have any more questions or want any comments, make any comments, or just give a shout out, they can find me on those two outlets. Until next time, stay gold.